Hello, guys, and welcome to As Someone Who Doesn't Read Comics, where we, to the contrary, read and review comics. I'm one of your hosts, Becca.
I'm another host. I'm Paul.
I may or may not be one of your hosts. I'm Brian.
Yay!
Yeah, there you go. If you're not, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a closed
Get out of here.
It's a Schrodinger's cat level kind of thing. You have to observe me being a host for me to be a host.
I need more definites than that. Can't just work for me. What do I pay you for?
You don't pay me.
Exactly.
Can we get paid?
Be a host.
Is that an option?
Yeah,
I don't get paid.
Oh. we need
Somebody pay us.
we need some higher ups to ask for money here, apparently.
Yes. So, this week on the podcast, we're reading a independently done and more independent than any other book we've read, independent comic Super, with an exclamation point. This comic has been kickstarted and was kickstarted 2 years ago, something like that. And it's done by a local group of writers and artists from New Jersey, funny enough. The comic shop that me and Brian work at, they come to and frequent often, and we get a chance to talk to them, and really it's been one of my favorite comics. So, I wanted to read it. Yep. Yeah. So, as usual, the podcast will go story section, art, then spoilers. We'll let you know when the spoilers happen. But otherwise, listen for the art and story. Be good. So, story to begin with. Paul.
Okay. So, the basic story, the way Super is laid out, which is kind of cool, is it's a bunch of little... The stories kind of tend to go into each other each issue, in that there's some overlapping characters. But it starts out, you're introduced to the city of, I hope I'm saying this right, because we were trying to practice it earlier, Cosmopolis, where basically it's a world where there are superheroes and supervillains, or they're just a normal part of daily life. So you've got like your A-team, like if this was in the DC universe, you'd have the Justice League, or like the Avengers, like the big go-to, everyone knows about them. But then further down the line, you also got like the C-list people who are, just kind of... They have superpowers in one way or another, but they haven't quite reached the status of the others.
Your Captain Boomerangs, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I like Captain Boomerang. That name is wonderful. Alright, but I'm getting off topic already. So, basically, that's the group we're following. It's like a kind of C-list group of heroes, where you've got, there's a whole bunch of characters in the book. That's the one thing. So I guess we'll start off. The main protagonist for the first part is, the woman named Blitz, who has a whole bunch of different powers. She's hard to destroy. She's like super fast.
She's got kind of like a Superman-esque type superpower list with the slight inclination towards electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it's kind of cool. I guess she's not as powerful considering she's a C-list, but
compared to other people she hangs around with, she's pretty strong and durable. Then you've got Fire Ant, who he's like the tech-based hero, got a lot of gadgets and things like that with, as you would imagine, there's a lot of fire involved in the things he does. There's the Streak, who is a, superhero who can run really fast, but because of the friction from running really fast, his clothes would burn off, so he has to take off his clothes, and so he's naked when he runs super fast. There's also Blood Death, who he's kind of like if the Punisher was uber patriotic for justice.
I kind of like I gave Becca the explanation. It was Rorschach and the Comedian.
Okay. Yeah, that
for Watchmen, the comic that we haven't read yet, although we have read personally, but just to let you know, it's like if you could take Batman's need for justice and his Gruzly voice and make it into a person and make it patriotic. It'd probably be the best description without mentioning other superheroes or things that you wouldn't know. That was at least that's how I read him.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Christopher Nolan Batman, like the justice is a thing type of.
And then add the American flag and guns.
Yeah, that's
done.
Because
and blood
America. Yeah. So, that sums him up pretty well. Then we got Silhouette, who is a hero who kind of has like extra dimensional kind of powers. Like they slip in and out of reality.
An amulet.
Yeah, it's like, so it's a mystical artifact based hero.
But very dark. Has a hat, has a cloak, has a scarf, and then everything else is dark and
in silhouette, I
glowy
think.
green. Yeah, so it's silhouette.
Yeah, kind of makes sense there. They may actually murder a couple people from the little bits that were in there. Then you've got the Incredible Lush, who is obviously at least somewhat inspired by the Incredible Hulk, who gets really different degrees of strong based on what liquor that he
Alcohol
drinks.
use.
Yeah, which is interesting.
I love him because it's like, oh, you're not gonna like him when he's drunk, and everybody's like, he looks the same, but he gets like superhuman strength while looking like a thin, like he's a scientist, so he looks like a thin little nothingness, but he gets Incredible Hulk type strength, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at things. I will go into detail. Then there's Max Archer, who the closest comparison I can see is if you've seen any of the Marvel movies is Tony Stark, except more, I guess, I don't want to say zany, but basically just more, Tony Stark if he was more obsessed with his image and branding than he already is, and his robot friend and combat companion named Adventure Man Zero. And that's, like I said, it's a lot of characters, but that's the core C-list group that you follow. And the basic plot line is the different heroes will go in and different ne'er-do-wells, usually also of the C-list variety, are attempting to commit different crimes, and the group of superheroes come in and try to thwart them. But what takes it from, just a basic premise into something that's actually really well done is it's, as you can tell, a lot of it is inspired from other comics and other characters. So you get a lot of these, like, in-jokes and things like that, and it's really funny. I guess that'd be a good thing to preface it with. It is not a dark and gritty, like, end-of-the-world storyline.
Yeah, it's not Batman or anything. It's definitely a slight satire on comic books while also being a superhero comic book, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of fun. So basically, the first story, we follow Blitz, whose secret identity is Paula, I believe. Yeah, Paula. I want to make sure. And like, for example, she has a job as a waitress, and she's got, she lives with her boyfriend and everything. And she just walks along like she's heading to work, and there's super villains and heroes fighting in the streets, because, it's Cosmopolis, and that's, how it is, and you just kind of accept that. Oh, the bus was destroyed, I guess I'm going to be late for work, I'll have to fill out that paperwork when I get there. That kind of thing. So it goes, and it follows her daily life, what would happen, and some of the other heroes, if everyday people had superpowers, and it was a city where this is all normal. So you meet some, interesting characters here. Let's see. Okay, and the main antagonist group they run into, I feel like I'm going to do is listing characters, but that's like really what it is.
It's a lot, yeah. Like a lot of it has to do with them interacting with other people, I guess.
Yeah, it's very much it's dialogue back and forth that makes it really good. There's a lot of jokes and build up and things, and there's a lot of action too. But it's a lot of talking back and forth in a more like. It's a bunch of people in costumes, but this is normal for them, so they're going to bicker back and forth. They're going to comment on each other's choice in costume and apparel. And so for that kind of thing, that's kind of what it starts out as. So you've got a supervillain group, I'll say, that they kind of run into, where you've got Tower, who, with a fearsome fivesome, that's what they were, yes.
Yes.
Fearsome fivesome, which is composed of Tower, who can grow really tall, Furnace, who may or may not be a robot, but has like pyro powers. You've got Backhoe, who might have one of my favorite backstories, where he just was a construction worker who now he got injured on the job, but had a mad scientist fix him up. So now he's got a backhoe
for an arm,
for an arm, which apparently is always breaking. So that makes me laugh.
Haven't you ever used construction equipment?
No, I have not. As a construction worker. As not a construction worker.
Oh, but there's a podcast spinoff as someone who doesn't use construction equipment. Just, write that down. That's it's gold. I can see that. And Granite Janet,
Who is also awesome.
Yes, she's got a great backstory too.
She was a pre-med student, and then she went and signed up for like a experiment. It was supposed to be like a sleep experiment, and then she ended up having, woke up with rock skin, so she's basically a rock. But she's freaking awesome looking. Like she's just, the women in this are very strong characters, and it looks really awesome. But yeah, no, so she's awesome too. I like her a lot.
Yeah, no, she's a lot of fun. And this group is led by the villain Black Adam.
Is it Black Adam or Adam?
Or Adam, just Adam?
No, it's Black Adam.
Okay.
Okay, I thought that's what it was. But yeah, okay. Anyway, here, unless you want to take a quick look. Yeah.
I'll take a double check.
Double check that real fast. I don't want to be completely wrong there. But he has like this super suit kind of thing going on that kind of gives him super strength, and it's probably atomic powered based on his name.
Black Adam, yeah.
It is Black Adam? Okay, good. Whew. All right. Dodged the bullet, just want to make sure. But spelled with an A-T-O-M. So, atomic.
Although his secret identity's name is, he's Adam, as in A-D-A-M in real life, and then his superhero villain is I find it funny.
It's a lot of jokes like that, where it's like, oh, the guy, that's amusing. Like, there's a lot of really good. There's one scene in particular in like the bar where there's like the Wolverine.
Oh yeah, Lone Wolf.
The Lone Wolf, yeah, Lone Wolf.
Oh,
who?
Because he's literally that like dramatic. I mean, he's basically Wolverine and some other people mixed together, and he's got a samurai sword and like an eye patch and all this, and he's.
I can't remember who I am. I don't know my true identity or.
Dude, there's people walking around with your T-shirt right there.
Well, like, literally, I think it's like. Fire Ant's there, and he's just like, I can't spit in this town without spitting on a shirt with your name on it. It's like, it's great. And he literally like turns around and points, and there's a guy with his name on his shirt and his picture. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. I feel like this as a story is like for a story section of this podcast is not telling a lot of actual story elements, because a lot of it's just, well, there's a bunch of people that are pretty funny. And then they interact with each other, which is pretty funny. And as an added bonus, a lot of stuff gets blown up. And that's honestly what a lot of each of the individual issues, by and large, are, is that it's a lot of fun to read because it's taking all the tropes that a lot of comics, especially modern comics, take really seriously. Like I can't remember who I am or why I'm here. All right, and they take all that and they just poke fun at it. Like, dude, you're like in the Avengers equivalent. You've got, that dude's wearing your shirt. It's a bunch of jokes along those lines. So, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's good.
I'm sorry. This is more of a character listing than a story section. I feel.
Yeah, it's the story for this is, it's kind of almost like as if you're watching like a Saturday morning cartoon thing where it's like beginning, middle, end, and if you haven't seen last week's episode, you're fine. Almost.
Yeah, there's some in-jokes.
Yeah, there's character development and things like that you're gonna miss, but if you were to just pick up, say, issue 4 and just start reading and not read issues 1 through 3, you could still get through and understand what's going on because it's more of an episodic thing rather than a full, long, drawn-out story. Although, if you do read it in chronological order, you do get that backstory, you do get that background information on the characters that does make it more enjoyable. So it's hard to go through a story section, really, without
basically
just giving away
entire,
everything.
Yeah.
So, character development's probably the only way we could have done that.
Yeah.
Which, no.
No
I chose to just list them all, so...
There's a lot. There's still, like...
There's a ton more.
We still have a huge list.
Yeah, that was just the C-list team and the recurring C-list
bad guys.
Villain group. Yeah, the Fearsome Fivesome, which is
awesome.
Which is great. I like that.
Past that, there's still a ton more. Speaking of which, also, story, we didn't mention this. The writer of this book and story is, Justin Pyatt. I also believe Zach Dolan, the artist, also, contributes to the storyline in this. So that's where that's going. And then on to art. The main artist and penciler of this is Zach Dolan. Inking is done by Tara Capel, I'm gonna say. K-P-P-E-L. And then Lori Foster. And then the coloring is done by, Ervando Orzocco? There's O-R-O-Z-C-O. I am terrible pronouncing names.
This is one of my favorite parts of the podcast.
Yeah, I
though.
always enjoy listening to you try and pronounce people's names.
I try not to be rude, because my last name is pretty hard to pronounce, so this is whatever. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I really like your art. It's actually really good. That's how the art section is going to start. I really like the art in this book.
Pretty
Like,
solid
a
start.
lot.
Yeah. Everything about this is really good.
Yeah, I love, cause Blitz is the main character, obviously, and I just love how literally she's a Superman kind of superhero, and she has muscle on her, and she's in a full skin tight, like a full jumpsuit, but a full jumpsuit just like everybody else. She's not revealing anything, she has really cool glasses, things. Like, she looks really cool, and she looks like she's the actual human body and not just a thin stick. And I love it. It's great. And there's so many other women in the comic that are incredibly muscular, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to go on a brief art tangent with that, there are only two, there's one female in a rather revealing costume, and that's towards the end. And then there is one joke made about Blitz's butt. That is the extent of sexualization of the females in this book, and it is wonderful.
But that was, like, the one girl who is revealing, that's, like, the joke of her. Is
Yes,
like, that
exactly.
she's supposed to be a joke on women who are revealing clothing, and it's hilarious, because it's like, that's exactly what she's part of the A-list team along with Lone Wolf, so, like, obviously, yet again, making fun of Wolverine and the tough guys who are eye patches and all that jazz. They were making fun of women who are poorly dressed, which was great. That's literally like the A-list of team is making fun of every major superhero, and it's just great. I love it. It was, I like a lot.
Okay.
I think there was there was one other, I think, that had she had a really small outfit, but she was made of diamonds or something, where she was like a rock.
Oh yeah, all of her was diamond.
And she chose to wear one of the most. I'm like
a leotard type of thing. Not even.
She's revealing that she's diamond. I can't.
Which I don't know. But I don't know. She was blue, and her outfit was really red, and it was very contrasty, and I was like, oh, that's why it stuck in my brain. I was like,
it looks really cool.
It looks cool. I don't
Yeah.
Very
and again,
brief cameo.
not overly revealing. It's not Power Girl.
No, well.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, she's wearing like a swimsuit, like a normal full body swimsuit type thing. But yet again, every single inch of her is a diamond. So, there wasn't much, she was a diamond, that was it.
Diamonds.
Like, it did not seem to stick
Diamonds
out
forever.
at all. Other than, women, everybody looks like a person, first off. Like, nobody doesn't. Action scenes were great.
Well, the robots and the monsters don't look like people.
Yes.
Well, they're humanoid. They've got. There was a facial region and some torso-y bits, a couple limbs, some more than others, But there was still.
The people look like people.
There we go.
They're well made. They're not.
I'm going to defend the people who don't look like people. I don't think they're people-y.
You mean the things that don't look like people that aren't people?
Still look like people.
Giant green blobs. Yeah.
There's some blobby people. There's still, okay, all right.
Okay.
There's
all right.
Mr. Roboto,
Mr. Robot.
He's
who looked like a
people-shaped.
robot.
He was people shaped.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to drop this. I don't know why I'm trying to defend it. It's fine.
But like the expressions, the people, everything looked really good. I like the art. I like the art. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the art. A lot of good background stuff. I love the stuff in the background. There's just everywhere. There's a science. I'm gonna say science fair. It's not a science fair. It's like a science convention.
Symposium.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yes. I was gonna say fair makes it sound like a high school thing. No, but
Consortium.
there all the time there's stuff in the background. Especially the science symposium. There was Doctor Who stuff. There was Back to the Future. There was Day the Earth Stood Still. There was Mystery Science Theater 3000. like
Lost in Space.
everything you think of under the sun was in the back. Like there was a character in the background, which was awesome to see. And then even like shots like Fire Ant was sitting there doing nothing. I forget what he was doing. He was on a roof. And on one of the roofs, it said, there was an advertisement and it said, "Don't fly in text." And I was like, that's hilarious. Like, there's just stuff like that in the background, which was like, oh, that, and it makes you involved in the world, some of that smaller stuff, like the "Don't fly in text," which was cool. I liked it. Yep.
I think my favorite background goodie, Crimson Comet, is standing in the old folks' home.
Oh, yeah, we should preface that. There's one of the many characters we haven't exactly discussed yet is named Crimson Comet, and he lives in an old folks' home because he was, at one point,
A superhero.
He's now
Well,
older.
It's a superhero old folks home because yet again, this world being involved in having all of these superheroes, there has to be a place for them to go when they become old and senile.
Yeah.
So there's this old folks home that you run into at a point.
That also has a bunch of these goodies. My favorite is he has a mug, and it's got coffee in it, and it says, "World's Mightiest Grandpa."
Which is awesome.
Because that makes you just go into it and consider there's an entire market in there. Someone is producing these mugs, and people are buying them for their grandparents who probably were bitten by some sort of radioactive insect. I mean, not him in particular, but I'm just saying.
Radioactive accident, insect.
Chemical spill.
Probably the same people making ththose Lone Wolf t-shirts.
Right,
Yeah.
for all those victims of improper sciencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll build off on the art section real fast. You mentioned it briefly, but the expressions on their faces, they are very, once again, it's a funnier book, but the expressions are very exaggerated, which works well, not in a cartoony way, but just there's a lot of detail in between each person's face. It's very easy, even in crowd scenes, to pick out different people. So from that perspective, I really enjoy the art. There's a villain, was it Baron Blizzard?
Baron Blizzard.
Baron Blizzard. I was trying to go through this list of names. Yeah, Baron Blizzard, who obviously is a cold-themed villain and has a monocle, and it's been frozen to his face, he says, for like years. And I mean, it's drawn there, and the combination of the art and writing is really funny. For like him ranting about how he hates that he had a monocle stuck to his face for years. Or someone who survives some catastrophe, like, "Oh, Steve, I was really worried about you because you told me yesterday that you were only 2 days away from retirement and that you had a loving family," and it lists a whole bunch of tropes and cliches. Just as background dialogue. It's not even the main focus of the panel, but I like that kind of stuff, and it all ties in with the art.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like the design of because I mean, there's a lot of villains like Baron Blizzard that come and go, because it's just basically like, it's a plot device to move the story forward, because the C-list superheroes that we're following go try to defeat them up, something happens, it's a plot line, and then it keeps going. So there's a lot of people just kind of being thrown into the mix and dumped out again, but they did really good on designing a lot of these like background villains and background people who were just sitting around not doing much. So it's really cool. Like Night Nurse was actually a fun one where she's the nurse at the old folks home, but I love her design because she's a knight and a nurse, hence her name. And it's just, the design on her is great. Like, also, a lot of the characters are just well designed, even for being background 2-second characters.
Or, like Dr. Plutonium, I think his name is?
Professor
Proton.
Proton, okay, sorry.
He shows up a bit more than once, but yeah, no, like, they all, they all have
he's
great
there
designs.
as a quick sight gag.
Well, he showed up at the science symposium and then was at the old folks home, which was weird. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess you got a bus there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd imagine. He still can science. Old people can science, Becca.
He was sciencing at the old folks home.
There you go.
Yes, he was.
So.
But so
You're never too old to science.
The design of a lot of the characters, they're all very different. You can point them out easily. It's nice. Nice. Spoilers?
Spoilers.
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 Spoilers!
Spoilers.
Spoiler.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Oh man. It's in the first 10 seconds of the movie.
Oh, it is in the trailer. But I mean,
It's pretty spoilerific.
You're a lizard.
if you picked up the book and was like, "Oh, I wonder what this is." Well, there's wizards in it. I guess that could be.
I mean, literally, like, the front page is a kid, like, flying around on a broomstick on it.
He could be jumping out of a window. We don't know. Like, it could be. I mean, we've all tried to fly with something we shouldn't have as children.
I'm just saying, like, you know, Sirius Black didn't kill his
do you want another
parents.
Snape's a good guy
Snape's a good guy.
Oh, so
There's a lot of different spoilers that,
for Harry Potter. Yeah.
yeah. That was literally like
The true
20
magic
minutes
is love.
into the movie.
No, it's not.
That
That was the moral.
That was a moral book.
Kind of.
Stupid moral.
Love conquers all, Brian, including magic.
No magic conquers all. Magic zaps love. Lots of people who were in love died and were zapped by magic.
Guns could have solved a lot of things.
Guns. Oh, that's okay. So the real moral of Harry Potter is
Invent guns.
invent guns.
I liked Silhouette, so I loved Silhouette. I'm gonna mention this because I loved it. I love Silhouette, and funny enough, me and Paul, when we were talking about her in the first 10 seconds, we're trying not to put pronouns to her because it is a girl, which is awesome, because Silhouette comes up and is superheroing and doing things, and since it's a, like, detective's fedora and a jacket and black silhouette otherwise, you don't, like, it's all hidden, so you assume automatically that this is a guy, because everybody else pretty much is anyway. You automatically assume, because you read I read the text and I read voices. And the voice was very, like, low, whispery, because, you know, like, that's a silhouette. And then they show off that it's the Detective Misty Gray, which is also hilarious. But they show off it's Misty Gray, and I was like, oh my god, that's the best. I was so excited about that. I was so excited. I loved
Going
it.
back to our gender equality conversation, Silhouette does not at all look like a girl until you see her secret identity.
Which, I mean,
Which
does,
is a girl.
Which
so
is a
she,
girl, yeah.
So unfortunately at that point it's like, oh, well, you're a girl because you look like a girl and are a girl.
But as Silhouette, you are
Silhouette,
completely
it's
gender neutral.
It's it's literally a hat and a coat and smoke underneath. Like, that is it.
Yes.
And glowy grianis.
And your brain
That's
will
it.
immediately go, oh, that's a guy, look at the dialogue, blah, 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 blah. And then you're wrong. It's Metroid.
It's so, that was,
Yeah,
They pull the Metroid card.
it was so great. That was funny enough, speaking of, I have spoken to, Justin Pyatt and Zach Dolan, and that was literally, he was saying that was one of his favorite lines. Somebody told him they were Metroid, and I was like, that's hilarious. And that is exactly what this is. Such a good character. But
that
otherwise,
should have
okay.
been the spoilers. Samus Aran is a girl.
Spoilers.
Oh.
that
that would have tied in so well.
To me, flipping out about Silhouette. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else.
Oh, I guess we should say, in the first, it's it's a spoiler for issue 1, but you find out that, Blitz, Paula's boyfriend that she's been staying with.
Who was Adam? I mentioned his name.
His name is Adam, is actually Black Adam, the villain that they were just fighting, but neither of them knows that the other one is one's a superhero, the other's a super villain. But and what's cool is they do seem to genuinely care and worry for one another. But
I mean, Black Adam seems to have the like, kind of like the rogues from Flash or something, where it's don't kill people generally unless needed.
yeah.
So like he does have the moral standing of don't hurt other people, but still steals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a bank robber, I'm here to rob, I'm here to get this money, and then I'm here to just walk away. I'm not out to kill people, I'm not out to take over the city, I'm not out to do any of that stuff. I'm just making a dishonest living where I can.
Right, I assume that suit is expensive to maintain, so, you know.
I presume.
I'm just assuming.
Keeps it in a suitcase. Suitcase gotta be expensive too.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
All this stuff.
They
He has to
are.
buy suits to have an alter ego for Paula. Like, I mean,
Oh, yeah, and that,
suits are
he bribed the taxi driver in that one scene. It's so
much.
It's gotta be expensive.
A lot of money. An apartment downtown?
Oh,
Wow.
I mean, come on. He's got whew, that is not cheap living. But
Yes.
See, bank robbery is lucrative.
apparently, if you've got a team of potentially robots and giant people and
Rocks.
rock women,
And bulldozers.
bulldozer men.
Yeah.
Although that's where they did comment, actually, that most of the money goes to fixing Backhoe when he keeps breaking, which
I find it funny.
that's amusing to me. But I do like that they do genuinely care for one another. It's not like one of them knows and is trying to be sneaky. They seem genuinely concerned about maintaining their secret identities to keep their relationship going. So I'm curious to see how that plays out later on. So that's one big spoiler there.
There are so many people in this background of the science symposium. Looking again, like literally, there's a small panel, and there's Dr. Mario, and there's Lockjaw, and there's Dr. Robotnik, and Dr. Light, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the guy who has his face in the stomach. Krang?
Oh, Krang.
Krang. Or, I think, I don't know. There's a lot of people in the background here. Freaking what's his face from Venture Brothers is in the background,
Dr. Venture?
like, way
Oh yeah, Dr.
way in
Venture.
the background.
Yeah.
I forget.
Cool.
I know who you are, and I can't think of who you are.
Oh yeah, who is...
Hold on, pass that over.
Okay, no, I'm gonna pass. While we're doing that, I just want
Glasses.
to...
But yeah, no, sorry. I was flipping pages, I got to that page, and it was... He's from The Simpsons, isn't he?
Oh,
Cliven Maven!
yeah,
That guy.
I don't remember his name now.
I don't know what his name is, but there's a lot of stuff in the background.
Dr. Farnsworth?
No, that's Futurama.
Futurama, yes. Although I'm
Who
sure
might
he's
also
probably
be in the background.
yeah, I just haven't noticed.
I'm fairly certain I saw him the first one, but whatever. But, okay, so yes.
Oh, I guess we should mention then the big one who keeps coming back was Professor Proton. Seems to be based off of Christopher Lloyd from
Back to the
Future.
Doc Brown.
Yeah.
He does a lot of great Scots and...
He's got the mind-reading device on him in the symposium scene.
Yeah.
There's a ton of things and a lot of Christopher Lloyd referencey things. Like one of the characters, I don't remember the movie, but I know he says the line, "I was frozen today," and that was a line in there. So like that's a lot of Christopher Lloyd references.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot more references to superhero comics, to other pop culture things that I haven't processed in here.
But that's interesting.
But it's cool.
We know a lot about a pop culture, and we know somewhat about comics and things like that, and we're getting a ton of references. There has to be more. There just has to be.
Oh yeah.
Especially with all of the dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue.
There is,
and there's a lot of really good dialogue.
Yeah, that is definitely like that's the strength of this. Definitely comes from putting two characters, and they mix up who these characters are that they're interacting. They'll take like, all right, let's have these three characters interact for a bit. Oh, there you go. We got some jokes out there. Let's have some stuff get destroyed. Okay, now we'll bring in these three characters. We'll have them all talk to one another, and they're consistently funny.
It's just great because like even like stuff happens at the old folks' home, yada yada. And there's two guys sitting there, and they're Uncle Slam and Street Justice from back in the day.
Yep.
And like Street Justice he has a mohawk and got powers from gold chains, so he's basically Mr. T. But it's just hilarious the interactions of the like. Uncle Slam's like, "I'm America and I can smoke wherever I want. Night Nurse can go blah blah blah," and then she's there and he's like, "Oh, never mind, put down the smoke. Sorry, I didn't mean." Like, it's just funny interactions. They're great and I love it.
Yeah, there are two interactions that I specifically want to point out. I'm gonna grab the book here. One is my absolute favorite, and it's between Fire Ant and Streak while they're fighting that weird. Actually, there's a weird biological monster thing.
It's a giant green glob, kind of like Swamp Thing-esque. Funny enough, but yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the exact dialogue here. Blood Death steals an ice cream truck, and the dialogue between the two of these guys is essentially the Streak going, "Oh, thank God, my prayers were answered," and Fire Ant goes, "What were your prayers? There's no way that you could have thought that Blood Death was going to come with an ice cream truck and bazookas." And he goes, "Well, there was going to be some dyslexic strippers, and they were going to come save the day." Wait, what does that have to do with anything? There's ice cream involved. Like that's the kind of snarky back and forth that makes this book really, really, really good.
I think Fire Ant's my favorite. Like, just if I'm going out there, just because he's out of everyone, he's the tech hero. So he's just a guy who like he has no power. So like when they're in when the building's getting attacked and they need everyone's like springing into action, jumping in, he's like, "Wait, I have to go to my car and change. Give me a second. And he has to go and he's trying to fumble getting on his armor and everything. He's got some Spider-Man-esque banter things where he comments on people not engaging him in banter, and he complains that it takes two to banter. You can't just leave me here to talk by myself or I look like an idiot.
Yeah, like he literally was, and this is the point where you say this and I come back with this, and then this doesn't really work if you're not coming back.
You really gotta participate in this. Come on, help.
Yeah, he's got those. I also love, cause everybody's got their thing. Like, I love how Streak himself is just a funny character with, stripping, but literally he's like this arrogant guy who doesn't listen to any, like, literally, like, the old guys are telling him, like, oh, this is what's happening and the end of the world's gonna happen. He's like, you talk too much, see you later, like, and does not have any foresight being some fast guy, like, does not think ahead or do any, which is great. I think it's funny.
Yeah, like, he lures the Russian rocket there's this big villain that they can't defeat, and the Russian rocket is looking for, the Crimson Comet, we mentioned him earlier, who's now retired, and they can't stop him, so Streak runs right to where the Crimson Comet is to say, hey, by the way, we don't know what to do. And like, oh, you let him here. What do you do? Are you an idiot? Why did you come running right here? Did you not think this through? Stuff like that. It's like, this entire podcast literally could just be listing the characters' names and their jokes, because that's really,
yeah.
There's so many of them. It's good. It's really good, but like,
it's cool, because that is a lot of what some of the older comics used to do, was just one shot stories. So it's kind of cool having them. It's nice. And then there's still that kind of overarching story of Adam and Paula worrying about each other but not knowing what each other are. And Paula kind of gets the idea that maybe Adam's a superhero because he goes out late at night and goes out on his own, and, yada 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 yada.
Doing things similar to what she herself does, and thinks, oh my gosh, maybe he's a superhero. Oh, this is awesome.
We can just team up. We can.
Obviously, a textbook example of irony. Yep. The fact that, the reader knows that he's a supervillain.
I don't know where else to put them in here, so I'm just going to say it. I really like the mime. There is a, there is a villain who I kept waiting for them to come back, and they haven't yet, but I'm sure they have to. And I really want to find out what there's just this mime, and she just walks in, and she does a lot of mime shtick, while the bartender she comes into is like, well, what are you, okay, I get, yes, you're struggling against the wind. All right, you're in a box. What are you here for? And then she holds up a sign out of nowhere that basically says this is a stick up. And it's like, well, wait, what? And then we move on and we don't see her again. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I want more of the mime. I really like the mime. I find random characters that I really like, and I just kind of obsess over them.
There's just a lot of characters to like. There just really is. Like, literally, I love also the A-team of superheroes, and they get like this whole like the leader is
Superstar, yeah.
And he's like the superhero, like he is Superman. And he's got blonde hair and all this, and everybody looks up to him. Even Blitz looks up to him 90% of the time, but like her boyfriend Adam's always like, well, do you think somebody does his makeup off screen? Because, he has to be on screen all the time. And like literally he comes to some like crime scenes and goes like, there's no cameras here, this wasn't worth it. So it's like, it's cool seeing that interaction, like that, A-list team not being the best, whereas our C-list team is helping just to help. It's cool. I like the universe.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's always fun to root for the underdogs too, which also helps a lot. But it is fun to follow the C-list people.
Yeah. I think, without going into extreme detail and reading you the book, that is about all we can say about it.
Yeah, because honestly, at this point, it's just we're going through a list of names and going, oh, this person, they're hysterical when they do X, Y, Z, which they are. But I don't feel if we keep doing this, we're going to eventually
just read the book
to
line
people.
by line.
Yeah.
which isn't the point. It's the best part of this book is the dialogue. And we can't really comment too heavily on the dialogue without just reading the dialogue. And then you'd enjoy it. But if we read it out of order, it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah. And also, the art is also enjoyable.
Yeah,
everything's enjoyable.
It's not fully realized until you see the pictures.
If there's one thing that I will complain about, and it's a really silly complaint, the text is ridiculously small.
It's it's on the smaller side, but there is a lot of it, like we mentioned before. So I think it would take away a lot, but at the same time, just mentioning, it can be smaller if you are prone to not liking smaller text. But really, it didn't bother me a ton. It came up every once in a while where I was like, there's a lot of text here. But
Especially like some of the background jokes and stuff like that. Some of them are done in really small text. Because, they're not important.
It's not
for the
important,
story.
but it's the jokes that I like I mentioned where it's like, oh, I was so worried when you said you were 2 days away from retirement.
Yeah.
It's
just great. I love the joke.
But if that's the worst that any of us have to say, that tells you something.
I don't know. So, I mean, I love this book. I like it. 10 out of 10. That's my... I like it a lot.
Wait, are we doing number systems now?
I don't know.
Okay, because this is new, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
man,
we haven't done number systems.
No.
It's always been thumbs.
Yeah, I don't know
You
what to
should,
do.
you should all choose a different number scale.
Okay, oh dear. I, out of spite, almost went with colors, just to be like, this is more of a chartreuse out of marine blue, but I'm like, marine blue's not even a color. I screwed up my... Is marine blue a color?
I like the book.
Shit,
I
I'm
give
sure
it,
it
I
is.
like, I give it a thumbs up.
Crayola.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with the old scale. I liked it. I liked it. I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Good thumbs up for me.
Yeah, okay, good. No, see, now I'm comfortable again.
All
This
right,
is good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Back to normalcy.
Jeez, scaring me. I don't know
Change
what
is
to do.
bad.
Change is horrible.
And Brian, you're reading?
I actually really like this too.
Which
Which is weird.
that's scary.
Yeah, I know.
The world's gonna end 2015.
Oh, it just started. Oh no.
Yeah, no, agreement is not something that anybody should be used to here.
Yeah.
This was really good. This was really good. This was really good.
Yeah.
Go read it. Run. Don't walk.
Well, speaking of which, this being a Kickstarter book and not published by any big company, this is not an easily findable book, unless apparently you're in Australia. There's a very nice store that carries a lot of them. Look it up. But otherwise, I mean, you can look these guys up. They do have a super page on Facebook.
We're double checking.
UnlikelyHeroesStudios.com.
There
all
we
one
go.
word and that. So I mean, you can get, this is volume 1 that we read, and that's all they have out right now. You can read volume 1. I liked it a lot. Go support it. Go to you can look up their Facebook, you can find their information from there, go to their website, do whatever.
Yeah, I believe it's
But
also available on Comixology.
I'm not too sure. I don't know at all. Like, literally go to their website and figure out this information.
Okay.
We've done enough of the work for you.
Yes.
You guys, I have faith in you. You can.
Yeah, so, just to mention it, generally you're not going to be able to walk into your regular comic book store and pick this comic up. UnlikelyHeroesStudios.com is probably your best bet.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better satires of superhero culture, basically, that I've encountered. Because I know there's a lot of television shows and things that try and do like a similar thing, but this was genuinely funny, like the whole way through.
Throughout the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, you should go buy this book. Go actively buy this book so that they can make more.
That would be great. That would
I
be
need
actually
more
a lot of-
mime.
I need to know what happens.
What's with the mime?
Help Paul find out what happened with the mime by buying this book.
That's a sentence that, out of context, is. I need to know. Oh, okay. Yes.
Using the series of tubes after you've bought your copy of Super from UnlikelyHeroStudios.com.
So-
Although
close.
you need to use those series of tubes to get to that thing,
Oh,
so...
no.
Yeah, that's why I said after using
Oh,
the
okay.
series of tubes to get there.
How
Okay.
many tubes?
I'm gonna say 4 to do that,
Ooh,
and
that's
then
close.
6 more to go ahead and find us at our Facebook at As Someone Who Doesn't Read Comics. You can follow our Twitter page at I Don't Read Comics, or you can send us your comments, complaints, and tell us that for whatever reason we got something wrong on how you can get a hold of your copy of Super at idon'treadcomics@gmail.com. Yeah.
Yep.
That's, I think that'll do it for us today.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
And as always, the book was better.